Okay, hello everyone. In today's video, I would like to focus on presenting the enemies which I have been working on for the past few weeks. There are a few types of the enemies that I have implemented in the game. The one that you see right now in here, it's a stone rock. They are for each enemy there are some variations which will increase the size of the enemy, maybe the damage the enemy is causing, and so on. The distance that you can aggro them will be higher the stronger the enemy is, so that it will be more difficult to play in the later stages of the game. Then let's start with this one. It's actually the rock. It's the only melee enemy that I have implemented. So what he's doing is chasing right now the player, and when the player is out of the radius, it's going to the idle position. Now it's chasing again, and it's staying in idle position for a couple of seconds, and then it's moving to the wander position again. So it's going to wander around the map. And the attack, it's just a slide attack. I mean, it's approaching the player. Once it's in a certain distance, it's showing that it's going to attack, and it's attacking. Then there is an attack ratio for every enemy. So this one I think is fixed like 4 seconds. So the attack is reset every 4 seconds. And this one is particularly is the weakest one, so we just have to punch him a couple of times and it's done. That's the first type of the enemy. Let's go to the next one. I will just present you that we have several variations of this. So we have several colors of the small rock. Each type it's a little bit stronger. I mean, it's a little bit faster, has more health and a bit more of the experience giving to the player after killing it. Then it's a medium one, it looks like this, and then it's a large one, something like that. Those are the melee enemies. Then the first enemy, range enemy, it's a blob. It's a very typical range enemy. It's chasing the player, and when it's reaching a certain distance, it's throwing the projectile. I have 3 variations of those enemies, and the small, medium, and the large. As you can see, they can quickly produce quite a lot of balls which are bouncing around the map. And if you don't take care of them quickly, then you can have quite a lot of problems to move around the map with so many projectiles flying. So it's not difficult right now because I have fixed on my weapon the stamina regeneration quite high, so I can really spawn the special attack quite often, but it's not gonna be that easy in the real game. So that's the range enemy. I have a few variations of this one. I have also small, medium, and large. And the small one is spawning 1 ball always. It might be a bit stronger for one of those colors, might give the 2 damage or something like this. But the medium one has already some percentage chance to spawn 2 balls at a time. And the large one has more life, of course, is giving more experience to the player, but it has even higher chance to spawn 2 balls or even 3 balls if I remember correctly. So I have to check it later. So this is something that's to make the gameplay more juicy and more difficult for the player. Then there is a second range enemy which I came up with this idea. It's a cube. It's spawning spikes. It's also range attack, so it does not have to be direct contact with the player. It's actually wandering around, and then when it's aggro, approaching the player for a certain distance, and it's spawning spikes. So there are 3 variations of this enemy. This one is medium. There is a small one and there is a big one as well. So the small one is spawning always 1 spike. Medium one is spawning 3 spikes, from which one is always in the position of the player. and the 2 other spikes it's somewhere in the area around the player. And the big cube, it's spawning 5 spikes, so 1 below the player and 4 spikes around. So you can imagine that at some point when there will be a lot of those enemies, a lot of balls enemies and melee enemies, it's going to be difficult to move around the map unless you really approach the enemy and start to fight with them. So let's see how the attack looks like. So I will let myself to be catched, and he will spawn 3 spikes. Here we go. So there is a small delay that the spike is really coming up. So he's spawning the spikes. There is a split of seconds, I think it's about half a second when the spike is really attacking. And just to show you how the attacks looks like, it's simple. So I will not move now. And yep, here we go. Somewhere here there should be the second one, I think. He has wandered really far. Okay. Here we go. Then there is a last type of the enemy which I have finished yesterday. It's Exploder. It's an enemy that is wandering around the map. It's the fastest one from all of them. It's approaching the player, but for the really contact distance, and it's exploding itself. Okay, they spawn in the wrong position. Let's try again. Well, I haven't been working yet on the enemy spawning script, so I have to prepare the script that will spawn enemies in the different location on the map. Okay, so he's now chasing me, he's aggro and chasing. When it's going to be close, it's exploding itself. So this one... Okay, I have just stopped his attack. Wow. So that's the Exploder. At the moment I have only one variation. There is a second one that I'm working on, which will have the different color, maybe maybe a bit faster, and the explosion will have a little bit bigger radius. But I haven't implemented yet. And in fact, I want to prepare some separate movie on how I'm preparing the variation of the prefabs with the new animations, because it's actually quite interesting topic. I think it might be useful for some of the developers. So that's for the moment all of the enemies that I have implemented. And after I finish the Exploder with 4 variation of the enemies, I will think about to do maybe a boss for the last map, for the last level of this type of the dungeon. I'm planning to have 3 dungeons, so I still have to work on the other enemies. And hopefully very soon, in a couple of weeks, I will have some demo with the proper enemy spawning system and so on. Okay, and one more thing which I have implemented to the game, small change. I mean, it's another perk that you can get with the skills. So as you remembered before, survival skill has only 3 perks. It was health drop chance, health skill, and stamina drop chance. But now I have added also the Balls mode. It's a percentage perk, which will give a chance to the player to avoid the damage from his own projectiles, and the same percentage chance will be placed on enemies to be damaged by their own projectile balls and so on. So once this reach the 100%, your own projectiles will not hurt you anymore, and all of the projectiles of the enemy will give them the damage always. So, and during the progress of the game on the level 2, 4 and other 6, 8, I think in 14, 15, there is a progression for this perk. So in the end, once reaching the 15 level, there is a 50% chance on this perk. Of course, I will have some artifacts as well, which will increase this chance, and maybe something on the weapon, like here, the ball has a chance. It's just for the testing purposes. I put it 10% of those. So, but it works. And Yeah, and this is something extra that I have added to the game, so that maybe this progression tree survival will be more interesting for the players. So now we have a 4 on the survival, dexterity and strength, and of course the most advanced it's ball, which have 9. It's 5 of the, let's say, basic properties, and the special properties 4 of them. Okay, for this video that's it. Thanks for your attention. Keep a finger crossed. I will prepare more enemies, and hopefully very soon I will update the situation. But I'm slowly approaching the moment that to have like a to prepare a short demo and place it somewhere, maybe itch.io. We'll see. And finally to get some feedback from the players, because I haven't really published it anywhere else. Okay, so thanks guys. Thanks again. See you and have a good day. Bye.